Hey, what's up guys? I'm Dave. Today I'm going to teach you how to remove rust from anything using basic supplies and tools you find in your house or garage. You're watching Parts and Restoration. Boys and girls, welcome back to the shop. I'm Dave, Parts and Restoration. Don't you love those videos on YouTube where it's like, oh hi, I'm Jethro, let me talk for 45 minutes about how to do something, and they don't do anything. They don't show you anything. That's not this video. Let's get started. Rust removal. On my table saw we got surface rust. Let's try some ways of getting it off. Step one, we've got some steel wool. Let's try that first. Steel wool is great at removing surface rust on nicely finished things. I don't want to screw up the surface of this nicely ground table saw top. So all I'm doing is rubbing with, this is number 2 steel wool, grade number 2 from Rhodes American. Worked great. We still have, you still see some little bit of shadow where it once was. Let's move on to the next thing, a little bit more. Okay, scouring pads. This is a 3M in between coats scouring pad. I use this for rust removal all the time. Gets in there, gets the rust right up off the surface. It brightens that surface, and it does leave a little fine scratches that you can see. But if you do that over the surface of an entire piece, it actually brightens the entire thing. Now, you can still see that kind of haloing where that once was. That's gonna happen. Next, stainless steel brushes. You can get these on Amazon for like dirt cheap. Let's try that. Okay, so the stainless steel brush is getting the rust up off the surface. Again, like the other methods, it's leaving behind a little bit of a halo, a little bit of a shadow where the rust once was. That's not ideal. But as you continue and you scratch more and more and more, the halo starts to fade. That's positive, okay? Some guys are gonna say, well, just go right into sandpaper. Not a fan of that. Sandpaper leaves a lot of scratches behind. This is a 220 grit sanding pad. And let's take a look at this area right here for getting up that rust. Okay, it's working really well, and it's not leaving any halo behind, but it is this is a more aggressive method, okay? Okay, last but not least, my personal favorite, steel wool and oil. Put a little bit of oil down on the surface that you get some steel wool on. This is great for guns, by the way. Doesn't really hurt that finish too bad. Gets in there, removes that surface rust, and as you continue to work in and out, you're gonna get some of that ghosting up, that haloing up. Okay, again, this is for surface rust on nicely finished surfaces. This isn't what you would use if you're going to de-rust, you know, a shovel or something that's been it's like a tool that's been sitting out in the rain for weeks, or something that's been out for years even, really. This is for very, very thin layers of corrosion. Okay, let's wipe all this down, see what we got. We did steel wool over here. We did our scouring pad through here. We used a wire brush on this surface and sandpaper here, and then I tried the one that I like the best generally, oil and steel wool on this surface. Okay, next, let's go over something more severe. Speaking of shovels. Okay, so we've got a much more deeply corroded item that we need to figure out how to get the rust off. Let's just jump right in, okay? So we've got a wire brush. Let's give that a shot. Stainless steel wire brush. Gonna go right in between these clamps here. Okay, didn't do a whole lot. Let's put a little bit of water on there. We can see what we've done, if anything. Okay, wipe it away. Okay, so if anything, that loosened up the surface rust. However, once this dries, let's dry. All the pits are still corroded. Can't have that. It's not a complete job. I wouldn't use a wire brush on this, on something so small. Let's try a big wire brush, a welding style wire brush. Okay, so we got. Okay, I'd say it's about the same. Maybe a little bit more aggressive. Got into some of the pits perhaps. Not a terrible option if that's all you had. Throw a little bit of oil on there with that brush, and you might do okay. Next. Let's try some of the stuff we talked about before. Steel wool. Not necessarily a bad choice. Let's see what we get. Okay, a little bit of agua. agua fresca. Okay, so that basically did nothing. It loosened up some of the surface stuff. Not a very good for a job like this where you've got this deep corrosion. Okay, we've tried, let's see, we've tried wire brushes. We've tried 2 different types of wire brushes. We've tried our steel wool. Let's try a little bit of sandpaper. This is 60 grit, super aggressive. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, seeing some of that brown metal powder coming up. That's what we want. This is a much more aggressive option over the previous ones. Let's see what this looks like. God, I see something shining down there. Alright, now, granted, I probably should stop doing that. We're getting flash rust. But, we're getting something shining down there. We're still not getting into the pits. That's an issue, okay? However, if you had the time, and you didn't mind beating yourself up a little bit, you could go ham on this 60 grit sandpaper, and you could do this whole shovel just like this. Now, it would be covered in little scratches all over the place from those iron oxide or aluminum oxide bits getting into those cracks, but you still have pits. That's no good. Okay, what's next? Let's try a wire wheel. Now, I've got a grinder here. Got a wire wheel attached to it. We're gonna give this a shot. This is the cup style wheel. This is a little bit less aggressive, but this should give us a good result. Let's see what happens. Okay, without any cleanup, we can see that we've gotten down to that bare gray metal. Nothing to blow away. The spinning action of that head got all that stuff already cleared away. We did also get down into these pits that we'd otherwise been missing using the cup style wheel. Okay, that's a good option. Wire wheels with a cup style wheel is fantastic for getting rid of rust in a hurry. Additionally, I didn't have to use a whole lot of effort to get that up, whereas before I'm scrubbing with my arms. Okay, another option, we'll try this too. We have a more aggressive wheel. This is the wheels straight out of the sides. These are called knotted wheels. You can get these at Home Depot or Lowe's. They work excellent. Okay, as you can see, another good result. We're down to clear metal. However, with the large flat surfaces like this, a downward pointing wheel like this sort of style cup, and they come in knotted ones as well, works better. It covers much more surface area as you go. Excellent. Next, we're going to try a different kind of wire wheel. This wire wheel is the kind of wire wheel you would find on a 6 or 8 inch bench grinder. However, for the work that I do, I have mine mounted in a drill press because it allows me to have more clearance. However, at your shop, you probably have a wire wheel like this mounted on your grinder. Our last job we did here was across here, pardon me, was across here with the grinder wheel, the wire wheel that you would mount on a grinder. Easily available from Lowe's or Home Depot, little bench grinder, 6 inch wheel, great option. Okay, next option, we're gonna try sandblasting. We're gonna do a strip of sandblast right across here. Stand by. Okay, there we go. We've got a strip of sandblasted shovel. This is a glass bead media. Sandblasting does a great job. Now, if I took more time to get this done and get all the pits out, there would be nothing but clean gray metal that I could then polish up with a wire. Let's take a look at that. Okay, and it shines like new. It's basically like, that's what it would look like when it rolled off the assembly line, that color metal. Okay, let's review. So, we started out with a little wire brush. We then went to a big wire brush like you'd find on a welder. Then we went to sandpaper. Then we started with our mechanical stuff. We went to angle grinder with the cup wheel, angle grinder with the edge oriented wheel. Then we went to the wire wheel that you would see on a bench grinder. Then we went to sandblasting. Okay, those are the mechanical methods that I use in the shop that I think are the most common discussed methods. Economically, I think your best bet as far as getting a lot of work done without killing yourself or getting beat up is going with the wire wheel that you would find on a grinder. I think an angle grinder is an incredibly versatile tool. It can allow you to do a lot more than, say, a bench grinder. It's very mobile. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my angle grinder. I'm gonna put on the cup wheel, which is my preferred tool for this job, and we're going to do the entire thing using that and take a look at what we get, because I think this is your best bet. So there you have it, guys. A couple different options for rust removal. Wire wheel does a great job. My personal favorite for big stuff. A little bit of oil on some steel wool for some smaller jobs. Works great every time. Hey guys, thanks for stopping in. I hope you learned something in the video. If I used any tools today that you're not familiar with or you're interested in purchasing, I have a list of links to those tools below in the description. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm doing by clicking this link. Additionally, I've posted links to my latest restoration videos here and here. And be sure to leave me comments, hit that like button if you so choose, and check me out on Instagram at Parts and Restoration. You guys are awesome. I love doing the YouTube stuff for you. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for stopping by.